How would you like over 35 encounters designed for wilderness, urban, or other environments? Do you want to return to the doomed Forgotten Realms in an adventure designed to take players from levels 7 to 11? Are you interested in 5 adventures built around the amazing monsters in the book Monster Manual Expanded? Well, if you said yes to any of those questions, we've got books that will meet those needs and much more in the latest episode of D&D New Releases. So let's get started. Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demi-planes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. First, we have amazing encounters and quests with 36 detailed counters to fill your games with fun times. It's from CZRPG, $19.99 for the PDF, or you can get the hardcover premium color for $49.99 or the standard color for $35.99, and then those same prices for the bundle with the PDF, which I love to see when it's the same price. 159 pages. That's a lot of encounters for you. Love it. So it says it's got wilderness, urban, and miscellaneous themes, which is awesome. Each encounter has its own battle map. There's digital files for your VTT of choice that you can purchase separately, it looks like. 16 new creatures, 3 new magic items. So it empowers the Dungeon Masters to enhance their campaigns and adventures with meticulously crafted encounters, elevating the immersive experience of tabletop role-playing games. Each encounter is thoughtfully accompanied by exquisite maps, serving as valuable aids for inspiration and visualization. So looking at down here at the bundles, you can get all 36 maps with their 300 DPI version in a separate bundle, or you can get another one that has the PDF with the map. So you can get just the maps or the map and the PDF in these bundles that are linked here, or you can just get the PDF or print edition here. So some good options for you. Be sure to consider those as you're buying to make sure you get what you need. But you can see beautifully laid out here with these images. The maps from CZRPG are always just top notch. And this has been part of a series. They've been doing a bunch of amazing encounter books, and I think they're all really, really fun. So looking in here, you've got the wilderness encounters, looks like quite a few of them, and then you've got your urban encounters as well as some miscellaneous ones, and they seem to be evenly spread between those 3 categories. So you're going to get a good amount of options with those 36 encounters. So here's your intro. It shows you how they're set up, so you get information, background, hooks, and then the encounter itself, and then the outcomes and rewards. So nice template that they're using, makes it easy to follow. If you've looked at one, you kind of know the structure of all of them. As far as how they're laid out, the content itself is going to be quite different. So we'll look at the first one here. It's called A Horned Peril. It's for levels 2 to 3. It's got combat and social parts to it, and it says, as an overview, a weregoat named Dronlor tests the party before he asks for their help fighting them to assess their skills. And it says it can be in any mountain, or on any mountain, I should say. So that makes it easy to drop this in anywhere. Maybe you just need something to fill in. You've got characters at second or third level, and you need a one shot. You need something to do to get them to the next place, and maybe they're on a mountain, and so you can just plop this in here. And same goes for the rest of the encounters in the book. You're going to be able to just put them right in between other material, or you can string them all together and just have a series of encounters. So background, Dronlor has found an entrance to a dungeon, and he's convinced that the place is filled with treasure. His companions don't believe him, especially after his previous prospecting ventures led to the death of one of their allies and no treasure to speak of. He wants to find a group of adventurers that will accompany him, but he's looking for competent people, something he aims to test through fighting his candidates himself. So could be the start of a interesting relationship with this NPC. He's going to test the party to see if they're capable of handling. Maybe he's going to lead them into whatever adventure you have planned after this. You've got hooks here, which are some options to get them interested. I think that background also sets it up. I mean, he's going to, you could hear that he's testing people for his latest adventure. And then you've got the encounter itself, which I'll read the intro text in a minute. And then you can see here the mountain map, which is cool. And I like that it has the different feet of elevation here, as well as DCs, so you can figure out what the DC is to maybe jump or climb or do different things to get to those locations. And then it lists the possible outcomes. The party loses the fight to Dronlor, who will stabilize them and leave them where they are. The party beats Dronlor and kills him. The party beats Dronlor and accepts to work with him, or the party beats Dronlor and refuses to work with him. So this makes sense as the possibilities. And the beauty is it's self-contained, so if they did happen to kill him, you can just move on. Aside from any combat experience, reward the party additional XP equal to a medium encounter if they accept Dronlor's proposition. It says weregoats are a rare result of lycanthropy curse, striking satyrs who, as fae, are easily affected. The result is a variant lycanthrope that lives on the fringes of fae society, often detached from satyr communities. So you're going to have this weregoat, which is basically a satyr who's got lycanthropy. So you're going to have to deal with that. It's got a whole stat block here. It's a CR2. So you can reuse that for something else as well. So you're getting some fun stat blocks. But let's read the sort of intro flavor text. It says, as the path ahead of you opens up, you spy a mountain goat standing atop a nearby outcrop. The goat looks in your direction, regarding you for a moment before it begins to change. Bones, skin, and muscle shift, change and grow in a matter of moments, transforming the creature before you into a humanoid goat hybrid. With digited hands, it lifts a loaded crossbow from the ground, leveling the bolt in your direction. Opening its mouth, the creature speaks. Let me see what you are made of. So, yeah, it's going to test them right away. It says he's a weregoat, and then it talks about all the different things, and he talks about how you fight. And he explains his plan, see the background, offering to split whatever gold they find from treasure, right? But again, this is so neatly packaged that you can put it anywhere. So what you could do with this one, I'm just going to give you an idea, is you could, maybe he's an outcast, and so he's testing you. He's going to have you go into this cave or somewhere and get some treasure. And if you do well on that, maybe he's going to hire you to take him back to his homeland. Maybe he's been kicked out of the Feywild and he wants to go back. He left something behind, whether it's loved ones or some artifact, or maybe he got chased out and didn't get time to get his beloved possessions. And so this could be a lead up to Feywild stuff, right? And we know we love Feywild on this show. But could be anything. Could be anything. You're going to have a character they meet here that could even come back later. Maybe they do this and they move on to whatever you had planned, and then you bring this character back, right? So that's the beauty of books like this, is they give you all of this stuff that you can just sort of put wherever it makes sense. You can be strategic. You can have it on hand. Maybe people didn't show up for your session, and so maybe you've got the characters at a a town, and so a few of them don't show up. So you just say, "Oh, they're sleeping," and the rest of you go over to this mountain because you heard there's some interesting creature doing some sort of treasure hunting. And then you take them over there and you go through this whole encounter, and now those characters have met this character, then you bring them back, and then the next session your other players are back and you can do whatever, right? So many ways to use a book like this. And you can see they range, so this is 6th to 8th. I'm not sure what the total level range is, but I'm sure it's going to be reasonable. Here's a 5th to 6th. So you get to look at a lot of these encounters, 1st to 2nd. And there's a good amount of stat blocks throughout. Here's a CR 1/2, 2nd to 3rd here. So a lot of good options in here for maps, for NPCs, for threats, for locations. I mean, the variety of the maps. I mean, look at this one. This is so cool. It's like a road along a beach, a rocky beach. And then you've got also kind of a little bit of a mountain. So a lot of different things you could use that one for. So the maps have a lot of reusability. The characters have reusability. And the best part in my eyes is that you can plug these in to so many different other adventures. You never know when you need to extend something. Maybe they just didn't get to where you wanted them with a level, and so you need something to sort of cap it off to get them to over that hump to where they need to be for the next part, because otherwise, the threats are going to be OP and they're going to go down too easily, so you got to do something. So this gives you options, and I'm scrolling through, you're getting to see 80 pages of the 159. So no excuse not to at least read through and see what works for you. There's even one here, Mystery at the Market, where it's more exploration and social, so it doesn't matter what level. I mean, a good variety, a really good variety. You can't go wrong as a DM to have this available. And we just read one and we got some ideas of directions to go, so these could be the starts of adventures. You're going to get lots of ideas with this, so I hope you look for it. It's in the video description links under Amazing Encounters and Quests. Give it a click. Next we have It Came from the Cellar with this really fun sort of mousecapede. I'm not sure what this is, like a millipede meets a mouse. I'm not sure, but I love that image. And it also ties into sort of that trope adventure of, we have a tavern with something going wrong in the cellar and we need adventurers, right? Which leads to a dungeon that's under this, whatever, right? Or leads to the sewers. So this particular book is $6.99. It's from Tabletop Outfitter, 34 pages for 5th edition, and it's an adventure for a party of 4 to 5 characters of levels 1 to 3 that lasts around 3 to 6 hours. It can be dropped into any campaign setting. It includes a random village encounters that are sure to engage any new or veteran adventure. You get a printer-friendly version. You get combat cards, digital map pack, new monsters, items, NPCs, random encounters, and more. So it says it all started when chickens, dogs, and cats started going missing in the night. Okay, so all the livestock and animals are going missing. That's not good. At the Dragon Skull Tavern, a barmaid disappeared when fetching a cask of wine from the cellar. A monstrous predator stalks the shadows, and the village is in desperate need of heroes. So, as I said, the kind of trope, but that's cool that they built this whole adventure around that. That's a good idea, because we've heard that story before. So you can have all kinds of stuff going on. It looks like you've got village encounters. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. And they're using a lot of bullets and outlines, which I think is going to make it easy to keep your place as you're reading. It's going to make it easier on the eyes, I think, too. It says, Village Encounters. This chapter contains rumors that can be heard from townspeople and average encounters that can be ran at any time in the village during the adventure. So townsfolk could be overheard talking to each other about these rumors. Any NPC tavern or patron could offer this information to the characters. So the rumors, it says, traveling merchant recently arrived and is selling exotic wares and promising unique magic items. Some believe that the goods might be stolen or cursed. So that could be a good start to something. Maybe you have an item you're trying to get into the hands of the characters, so you could throw it in there. And maybe they defeat the merchant, and they're rewarded with, you can take something from what was stolen here as a reward, and we'll return the rest to the rightful owners or whatever, right? And it says attendance at the temple has been dwindling. Half the congregation has abandoned their faith. That's a really cool idea, because maybe there's some competing cult, or maybe there's a magical effect or something that's causing these people to sway and go a different direction. So many options. I mean, these are just little rumors that could be going around. And they're not even part of necessarily this adventure to go down into the cellar here, but I love reading these kinds of things and getting other ideas of places to go for people that are going to purchase this. So it says, here's one of the encounters. A small group of people wearing togas are led by a priestess carrying a large incense burner. The group is merry and singing. They are celebrating the marriage of Legerpot, a male halfling, and Galen Omaran, a female half-elf. So yeah, you could just see that passing through. It adds color and flavor. Not every encounter needs to be combat, right? So you got infestation, developments to the infestation. It says a distressed human woman approaches the party. Her hands and clothes are dirty, and she looks like she's been working in a field all day. Her blonde hair is disheveled and tucked into a wide brim hat. She says, "Please help me. Something has been destroying my crops and animals." So it says Dipsa had been destroying Helen's crops and leaving small eggs behind in a green acidic substance that burned a hole in her work glove. The chickens on the Cotter farm disappeared a week before the crops were destroyed, and a few days after a couple of pigs had dropped dead, for no reason that Helen could see. When she tried to see if the pigs' meat was still good, she found their whole innards to be like pink jelly. Love that detail. So it's not just that the pigs are dying, it's that now we can't even eat them, right? There's something changing their insides. So that could be a really, really interesting thing for the players to discover. Like maybe she cuts them open in front of the players. So you have a lot of options here. I like this little list of items in each of these sections. So, and then eventually, of course, you get to the cellar and what's going on down there with giant rats and it says giant rat carcasses are there, giant centipedes. So you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff to deal with. It says, but you can get a scroll of summoning giant centipede, a ring of filthbane, and other things for venturing down below the tavern. And it came from the cellar. So look for it in the video description links and give it a click. All right, we've got Monster Manual Expanded Adventures. It's $9.95 for 71 pages. It's from Daniel Kahn, Dana Floberg, Never Not DM, and Dragonics. And it's a bestseller already. And it just came out. So you've seen the Monster Manual Expanded series. Very popular, very successful series of books on the DM's Guild that basically give you additional monsters beyond the original Monster Manual published as part of 5th edition. They've done 3 of them. Bestsellers, top 10 all the time, always creeping back up the charts because people just need more monsters. And the best part, I think, is that they're beautifully illustrated. They really spend a lot of time, Dragonics, on putting some great artwork into those books. And we've looked at them before on this show. But what this is it's taking the Monster Manual Expanded and it's basing adventures around some of those monsters. So maybe you've purchased the Monster Manual Expanded and now you're not able, you haven't been able to get to it, or you've only been able to use a couple of monsters. This book is going to give you everything you need to actually go and use what's in those books. So I'm not sure if this adventure book covers all 3 volumes of Monster Manual Expanded. Volume 3 is pictured here. That is where I'm unclear. But it says the book contains 5 ready-to-play adventures designed around the monsters from Dragonics' adamantine best-selling Monster Manual Expanded series. So it sounds to me like there's going to be based around monsters from more than one volume, but it's unclear. So just keep that in mind, that you may need more than one of those books. And I'm not sure also if they're repeating the stat blocks. Maybe they have the stat blocks in here so that you don't need the original book. So those are 2 questions you might want to answer if you're watching Daniel Kahn on the page for people. But love it. No problem with not having that on there. This is just how my mind works. as somebody who also sells books. All right, so it says each adventure contains a single custom dungeon map from one of a variety of environments and gorgeous artwork for the new monsters. Each adventure offers hooks and tips for maximum compatibility with your current campaign and the flexibility to run as a single session one-shot. Further, each adventure is adaptable to a wide level range spanning tiers 2 to 3, so you'll be ready to challenge your party appropriately. So you can see here a list of the different adventures. There's 5 of them, and they range, it looks like, from 5 all the way up to 12 in terms of levels. And they've got some descriptions, so we'll just read a couple of those descriptions in a minute, but I want to just scroll so you can see the beautiful layout. There's also links to some of the other authors' works as well as his original expanded titles. So if you want to get a bundle of the expanded Monster Manual Expanded, you can get them 20% off by clicking on this picture after you click our link. So it says, the first one, the Archives of 𝘎𝙤𝙬𝙀. Embark on a perilous journey through a desert tomb, facing a series of trials and confronting a fearsome draconic adversary to unveil the secrets hidden within. And that's for level 6 to 10. Then you got the Feast of Flesh, 5 to 10. Immerse yourself in a chilling gothic horror adventure that unfolds within the mysterious confines of a cathedral, where appearances deceive and darkness lurks in every shadow. So those sound really interesting. You can see that each one has its own section. Some of them have magic items, spells, creatures, etc. So yeah, maybe you are getting the stat blocks from the original Monster Manual Expanded. But yeah, back in 2019 is when the first one came out. And, adamantine is really high in terms of the metals that you can get for selling. I think it's like, I want to say 5,000 or some really high number. You have to sell a lot of books to get up to adamantine. So it's been really successful, like I said. So there's a lot of people that have that book already, at least one of them. So again, here's your list. Some fun artwork in here too, I have to say. So here's that first adventure. It says, Curse of Strahd. If you want to run this adventure as part of Curse of Strahd, you can have one of the treasures, such as Sun Sword or Holy Symbol of Ravenkind, located inside the archives. And it talks about the card reading and different things that happen in Curse of Strahd where you can tie this in. You can see the map here, generous amounts of flavor text, which is going to help you. So yeah, we're going down through this whole first adventure here with just lovely artwork, and then it's got some scaling for your encounters. That's helpful, so it can work for different ranges. So, and then it gets all the way to the end here, magic items, and then new spells, and then creatures. So you got young brown dragon and young adult brown dragon. So very cool. But either way, whether it gives you the stat blocks for the original or not a big deal, because you should buy those books anyway. This book isn't going to cover every single creature in the Monster Manual Expanded anyway, so you're going to want to get those. But I love it. All right, let's look at one of these a little bit more in detail. So it talks about how to work this into the Forgotten Realms if you want, but it says, Sultan Hassan Abdul was a king of a small but powerful nation at the border of a vast desert. He valued knowledge above all else and constructed a beautiful library dedicated to a god of knowledge, such as Agma, the thundering god or a deity of your creation. Legend says that Sultan knew this knowledge could be used for great evil, so he created magical safeguards to ensure only the worthy could access his hidden trove. In reality, the Sultan was consumed with his quest for knowledge and allowed his kingdom to crumble around him while he spent his days collecting and reading ancient tomes undisturbed. So, love that background of somebody who is very consumed with knowledge, and he just didn't even bother keeping his kingdom up to date. He was just so focused on these ancient tomes. So what was in them? What did he learn? I'm sure that will be revealed, some of that anyway. You got a bunch of hooks here, some of them involving Sphinx, and then there's, again, ties to Curse of Strahd, Forgotten Realms, all of that, if you want to use those. You don't have to. And then it talks about how to scale those encounters. But let's read the first flavor text so you can really get a sense of the writing. So it says, the atrium, when the party enters the archives, read the following. The great stone door creaks open into a large atrium. A glass roof 30 feet high has been completely covered in sand, but a few ever-burning torches cast pale red light across the sandstone floor and empty flower beds. 4 closed doors to the left and right are decorated with identical pictures of sapphire keys. Ahead of you stands a pair of gleaming double doors, almost 20 feet tall. 3 large keyholes are set into the doors. So, a puzzle. Sounds like a puzzle. You're going to have to uncover how that works. And I love the illustration of this map here. It's really, really cool. Whoever did that did a great job. Yeah, really cool. I like this giant plant in A2 there. So it talks about the main archives area, and then here's another section on the Fell Garden. Let's read that flavor text. It says, golden light spills from a large crystal on the ceiling of this 15-foot tall room. The stone floor plunges down into a pool of murky water covered with jet black lilies. In the center of the pool sits an island 10 feet wide with a single withered palm tree growing from the sand. A bright blue key dangles from a high branch. So it sounds like they're going to have to go collect these keys, which could be a really fun adventure. Like, what are they going to encounter? Here's a dark naga that they may have to deal with. That's probably one of the ones from Monster Manual Expanded. It's been a while since I looked at that book, so I could be wrong, but I think that might be one. And you've got a 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 elemental here. And then here's the button mechanics, what happens when you have to press the buttons. I mean, this is going to be fun. This is not just like run in, stab some creatures, run out. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to have to deal with. So let's read one of the spells too, so you can get a sense of some bonus material in here. So Binding Bolt, it's a 4th level evocation, 1 action to cast, range of 60 feet, concentration up to 1 minute. You summon tendrils of lightning that wrap around one creature within range. The creature must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 66 lightning damage and is restrained by the crackling lines of electricity. On a successful save, the creature takes half damage and suffers no other effects. At the end of each of its turns, if the creature is still restrained by electricity, it takes 46 lightning damage. The creature can use this action to repeat the saving throw, ending the effect on a success. So you can just repeatedly hit this thing with lightning if you maintain your concentration, and then the damage goes up with upcasting too. Fun stuff. Get those lightning effects going, and especially if you've got a character that maybe is deals with elemental things, that you could lean into that with the role play, or maybe you have a god or something that you have a connection to that is very focused on lightning. Like we see Thor in popular media, and Thor has a connection with lightning, so you could have that. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, spells even give me ideas. But you've got Dark Naga here, CR6, so that may be the creature from Monster Manual Expanded, an 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 elemental. I'm not sure if those are from the books or not. Again, it's been a while since I looked it up. I'm guessing they are, because it sounds like kind of the creative types of creatures that you'd find in that awesome series of books. But yeah, fun stuff. I mean, 5 adventures for $9.95. I mean, that's so inexpensive, right? I mean, that's like $2 an adventure. And you get to make use of your Monster Manual Expanded collection, and you can see beautiful maps and artwork in here that you're going to have to really just spend time looking at. So I think this is a good purchase for you. So look for it in the video description links. It's under Monster Manual Expanded Adventures, and give it a click. Next, we have Monsters of Murka, Restaurants and Retail, from Action Fiction. It's $34.99 for 374 pages. And it says it's the first major length expansion to the platinum bestseller and #1 community D&D product, Monsters of Murka. And it says, enter a world where capitalism is king, then punch it in the face. The new expansion explores 3 unique locations: the dungeon-esque reaches of Valmoria, the bewildering corridors of the Hall of Murka, and the legendary districts of Flavor City. So you get 3 fully fleshed out settings, factions such as the Knights and the Manageri, the Paladins of Flavor, and the Paladins of Deliciousness, 70 plus magic items, 35 new spells, 14 new playable subclasses, new backgrounds, feats, and race options, and 60 plus new monsters. So a ton of stuff is packed into the 374 pages. And I love that. It's, and you're basically paying about $10 for 100 pages and then $4.99 for the 74 if you divide that price. So I like price points that make sense. And this one seems to make sense here to me. I didn't see the first book. I must have missed it somehow. Maybe it was before we started this series, or it just didn't make the cut. I don't know. But it sounds like a fun one, so I'm sure it's out there for you to check out. You can go to Action Fiction's website, or it's probably here on DriveThruRPG. Since it's a platinum bestseller here, you can click on Action Fiction and go check out the original Monsters of Murka, I'm pretty sure. And there's a video down here you can watch about it. But immediately when I saw this, I thought about Silverplate, which was another sort of book that we looked at, Kickstarter book combo previously, and that's a world where there's like anthropomorphic food. These are two very different pieces, but I think there's some synergies. So I'm only mentioning it because I know we talked about Silverplate in a past episode, and so if you ended up grabbing Silverplate, you might be able to marry these two together and have some fun. Because in Silverplate, there's anthropomorphic food going to these places, and here they have Flavor City, right? So you could tie those two together pretty easily. And I think that's always cool to think about all these books that we talk about and how you can merge them together or use pieces from each to create your own new thing. And I'm not DMing, so take my ideas and run with them. Somebody should do it. So you've got spells and conditions here right at the beginning. You've got creatures and cults. So you got action figure troopers, corrupted employees, Das Kapital, cupcake construct, all sorts of parody style things. So it might be leaning more towards modern, but again, it's got this parody, fanciful feel to it. So it's kind of, to me, 1 foot modern, 1 foot fantasy, which is perfect. If you want to bridge, maybe this is a world that you get through Spelljammer. Maybe you arrive at this world that's got this oxen clean character. It's going to give you opportunities to parody things. You can take inspiration from Garbage Pail Kids or other places and parody as well alongside what the authors are parodying. If you've ever wanted to have a tongue-in-cheek setting, this is going to really give you that opportunity. But you can see there's a sword, right? So there's still the fantasy connection but then you're also getting some, modern references. So it says, welcome to Restaurants and Retail. This time around, we're going to step away from the broad scope political world of the Monsters of Murka core book and talk about something that has defined Murkan culture since the very beginning, capitalism. Restaurants and Retail has everything you could ever want to help you and your companions navigate the commercial world of Murka. Subclasses, spells, wacky new items, and even monsters. So yeah, you can see, look at this artwork. You got the flavor paladins up here dressed in knight armor, and then you got bargain hunters throwing, looks like price tags, a chef in a very, modern style outfit with, it looks like a mimic spaghetti, and then on top you've got the Path of the Punk, which is like a metal band with electric guitar and stuff. So it's very much a merging of fantasy and modern, which I love. You don't see that very often. So right off the bat, they've got alternate race options. There's a Flavor Dragonborn, descendants of the mythical Flavor Dragons of their namesake. Flavor Dragonborn are born having been altered by the primordial energies of Flavor City's mystical grill lines, Flavor Savers, and the undeniable presence of Fier, the mouthwatering mixture of goromancy responsible for their creation causes such rare Dragonborn to develop frost-tipped horns that glitter in dazzling gold, silver, or shades of white. So they're going to have different colorations there. Those sound like fun ones to have too. Looks very much like treasure almost. So you got the ability score increase, alternate flavor Dragonborn. If you're feeling wild and want to mount up with a different style of Dragonborn, you may use these alternate traits and replace the Dragonborn's ability score increase and damage resistance. So one would be Legacy of Flavor. You have a radical sense of perception when it comes to foodstuffs. You have advantage on perception and investigation checks relating to food. And then Dragon Soul Food, once per short or long rest, you can cook a meal and season it with the very essence of your soul. The number of people you can feed is equal to your con modifier +1. Those who eat this food gain temporary hit points equal to twice your level, which lasts until the creature finishes a long rest. So, yeah, that sounds fun and connects to food, which is good. And then you've got some different backgrounds like Flavor City Citizen. And I mean, look at this artwork. There's like it looks like a Dragonborn with sunglasses, a giant trident / spork maybe, and some fun gym shorts on and sneakers. So this really is a blended world of things. But, you know, since 5th edition has given us Spelljammer, you can take Spelljammer to wherever, or even Planescape for that matter. You could have a portal mishap take you to some strange alternate world where all these things are going on. So cool. I mean, there's just the artwork throughout this. It's just really playful and fun. There's also a alternate preview here that you can click on and look at. It's going to show you like a couple of the subclasses in depth. And, you know, I just see so many synergies with this and Silverplate. And then we also looked at Gormancy, I think it was. There was a book we looked at from the DM's Guild where it's focused on, you know, like gastronomy and all of that stuff. And they had spells and foods and stuff. And this isn't just about food. There's other capitalism things going on, right? So that's just one sort of side of it. So, and then of course the original Monsters of Murka, which I'm curious about now as well. So I really hope you check it out so you can find out about Old Buck's Coffee, Chicken Fella, Make a Minion. I mean, I love parody names of brands. They used to have a card series that was just like artwork of different brands being, you know, parody versions of them. You sometimes see parody versions on Saturday Night Live or whatever. So you're going to have anywhere you wanted to do that. You wanted to throw in some puns and throw in some parodies. This is your opportunity to do it beyond even food. So you got to look for it. It's Monsters of Murka, restaurants and retail. In the video description links, give it a click. Next, we have Up the Beanstalk, a 5th edition adventure of storybook fantasy from Zipperon Games. It's a suggested price of $8.99, but it's pay what you want, so you can pay nothing, check it out, and then if you're going to use it, please pay if you use it. Definitely want to support these creators. The author is Alyssa Vishker. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it says, in this whimsical adventure, the characters race against time to ascend a magic beanstalk, cross a floating island, and raid a giant's castle in the sky. Up the Beanstalk is an adventure for 5th edition characters of 8th level and should take between 12 to 14 hours of play to complete. And my favorite part of this is it says 100% of the proceeds from the sales of this book are being donated to the Cancer Research Institute. So even more reason to make sure you put a value in this field here where it asks for a price. Okay? All right. Looking inside, I love this sort of whimsical watercolor artwork. It's almost like a pencil drawing with some soft watercolors. It's not filling in everything, just some. It's just really nice, calming. I like that. So you got background, adventure hooks, ascending the beanstalk, and then on the mountain there's various mountain locations, and then you get to a cloud giant's keep, and then the final battle, it looks like. And then there's a bunch of monsters, including an enormous mimic, a giant animated armor, golden goose, singing harp, and strawberry cheese. Then appendix talking about travel times and magic items like charm of flaming hot, mirror of life stealing, and robe of happy things. So scrolling through, you can see this is the first part of the adventure. We're going to read a little bit more of that. But look at this playful little map of this fairy tale land that you get to. See, here's the beanstalk at the bottom. You climb up to that, then you go to M1, M2, etc. Right? And then eventually you get to this area where there's this castle at the top, or the keep. And that playful sort of watercolor style artwork is throughout. I love the consistency. A lot of books bounce around in art styles, naturally, because they don't have the funds of Hasbro, and they have to. So when you see somebody really making the art consistent, I love that. So here it says, Up the Beanstalk is an adventure for characters of late 8th level. It says, a century ago, 𝙁𝙤𝙘𝙤, the cloud giant, stormed through the idyllic town of Bayfall and stole everything of value. She hid the spoils away in her ancient fortress built on a flying island, then drifted away to plunder other territories. After a generation of peace in Bayfall, 𝙁𝙤𝙘𝙤's ponderous castle has been spotted again. Its approach is slow but inevitable, providing the characters a chance to retrieve the plundered treasure and subvert her plans before she can devastate the region again. The characters have acquired a magic bean, perhaps from a shifty trader or an eccentric old man, and a daring plan has been concocted. Grow and climb a magical beanstalk to reach the island, traverse the mountainous terrain, infiltrate the castle, find the giant's legendary striped bag, and steal the treasure. But they must act quickly. In 36 hours, the flying island will move beyond the beanstalk, their only way home. Love it. It's playful, it's fairy tale, and the best part is there's a time limit. I love that in stories, because especially ttrpgs, because one session can turn into 200 if you're not careful. And so when you have a ticking clock, it can really not only heighten the tension and the urgency, but it just, to me, it's a pressure valve that keeps everything together. And so love seeing that here. Very, very cool. So let's read the flavor text so you can get a little bit more feel for the writing here. It says, after a century of waiting, the opportunity of a lifetime is finally here. 𝙁𝙤𝙘𝙤, the enormous cloud giant, returns to the quiet town of Bayfall. The hulking form of the flying mountainous island approaches, casting a colossal shadow over the countryside. 𝙁𝙤𝙘𝙤's ponderous keep stands among the island's rock, protecting the legendary treasure. The wildly daring plan has been set into motion. Last night, a magic bean was planted in the town square. When you wake up in the morning, a gigantic beanstalk has grown ready to intercept the island, reaching high into the air and visible from miles away. Its central stalk is wider than a house and ready for you to climb up into the clouds. And swiftly, by nightfall on the second day, the island will have flown past the beanstalk, leaving you stranded in the clouds. So again, that urgency, love that. And just think about where things can go. I mean, DMs do let their characters fail sometimes, and if they get stuck up there, that could lead to even more interesting things, right? So you've got your characters 8th level, they get up there, they maybe gain some levels as they're going through this 36-hour adventure, and then where do they go from there? Do they stay? Do they climb back down the beanstalk? Do they get trapped up there? The world is yours to figure out with your table. So fun. I love this. I mean, they've got beanstalk events. It's adorable. Fairy trick table. It says the fairy follows the character around, subtly casting the suggestion spell on them up to 3 times. Just beautiful, playful, calming artwork too. I feel just good looking at this. I feel like it reminds me of when I was a child, and getting to look at fairy tale books. But now I'm in the middle of the adventure too, so it's just cool. It's a good vibe, and the proceeds sounds like are going to go to Cancer Research Institute, which is awesome. So I think you should check it out and support these creators and the Cancer Research Institute by looking for it in the video description. It's under Up the Beanstalk, and give it a click. Last we have Wrath of Zuggtmoy. It's the Underdark Volume 2 for Doomed Forgotten Realms. So Doomed Forgotten Realms has been really, really cool. It's an alternate reality where all those previously published 5th edition adventures from Wizards of the Coast ended in failure, and so now the Forgotten Realms are doomed, literally, and it's up to your party to make it right or make their way even through this landscape. And it's from the awesome team of Scott McClintock, Mark Altfudish, and Buck Webb, Billy Middleton, Daniel Kahn, Isaac Minerick, and Chris Martin. It's already a best copper seller. It's $9.99 for 77 pages to continue the good time in Doom Forgotten Realms. So I guess it's up to you whether it's a good time, because it's doomed, right? I think it is. I mean, it's just fun to see something turned on its head, a totally different world where Tiamat was summoned successfully and the princes of elemental evil tread unfettered, right? Evil has prevailed, basically. The previous one was mostly in the Underdark, and so this one's going to take it out of that Underdark and into sort of wild space, which is cool, because why not traipse through all of the areas that 5th edition has made available through Rivers of the Coast. So you get some Forgotten Realms, you get the Underdark, and now we're going to go into other places. It says team up with the legendary Tasselhoff Burfoot to explore a doomed version of the planet Krynn, right? So now we're going into Dragonlance even. So really cool that the Doom Forgotten Realms is really extending beyond those Forgotten Realms. This is play a dangerous game of cat and mouse within the ruins of a flying fortress, sail the astral seas of wild space, and the newly promoted Rear Admiral Crux. Race against time in an abandoned space station infested with evolving aliens, forge an intergalactic alliance with the Thri-Kreen, go toe-to-toe with the Demon Queen Zuggtmoy, for the fate of not just the Underdark, but all of wild space. So down here you can see the covers of the past books, right? There's the Rise of Vecna, Fall of Vecna, Reign of Rot. I mean, so many things. Academy of Adventure. You've even got a Sword Coast Gazetteer. I mean, they put out some really, really good stuff. And it's consistently beautiful, consistently well made. And I love it. I don't know if there's a bundle. I don't think there's not a bundle yet, but you can, I think it's worth it. I mean, $9.99 for 77 pages. That's a good price and a great book to have in your collection with all this artwork and all this connection and synergy with your past knowledge of Forgotten Realms or Dragonlance or any of these things, and it's being subverted here. So it's really going to play tricks with your mind and your player's mind, right, to experience an alternate reality. I love alternate realities in popular fiction because, like, for example, X-Men and the Days of Future Past, like, it messes with your head because you're used to the X-Men being a certain way if you've read the comics, and then you read Days of Future Past and everything has changed. The status quo has changed. So this is like that, but with your players front and center. So you got Chapter 1, Strangers in a Strange Land. Then you get to the Flying Fortress in Chapter 2, Little Swamp of Horrors. Love that. To Infinity and Beyond, Aliens. A New Hope. So yeah, I mean, imagine you start, if you did the previous one, you're in the Underdark, and then you're going all the way through this stuff, including Krynn and Wild Space. I love that. We just, Wizards does great stuff, but they really, when they put out a book, it's usually in one setting, doesn't go anywhere else. You can make it connect to something else, but they don't do that for you. So having talented authors and creators do that and actually take advantage of all these different places is so exciting. So you get the introduction, and talks about how it says it might seem surprising for this adventure to take place almost entirely outside of the Underdark. However, it should be kept in mind, even though they are adventuring elsewhere, the consequences of the character's actions will resonate most strongly throughout the Underdark. So still have that connection. It says one of the most common complaints regarding Out of the Abyss was that the characters never leave the Underdark. This eventually became tiring and monotonous. To avoid such setting fatigue, we have opted for a brief change of scenery so that the Underdark will feel fresh and interesting when the characters return to it in the following chapters. So there's probably going to be a volume 3. So that's cool. Here's your summary. And chapter 1, we'll read a little bit of flavor text in a minute, but just beautifully laid out with maps. So many things. I love this map. That's cool. Look at this glowing purple thing here in the middle. That's fun. Always love glowing stuff on maps. It definitely draws my eye, which is the goal, I guess, if you're making something glow. But, you know, I think we're trained from video games. If something's glowing, we need to look at it right. So maybe that's where I got trained. Anyway, I'm sure I'm not the only one. So it says here, Neverlight Grove is strangely beautiful. Signs of vitality can be seen everywhere, and a profusion of mushrooms and plant life as breathtaking as it is alien. Walking through the gardens of scintillating prismata, you soon find the myconid sovereign, Basidia. The mushroom king waddles over to you, exuding spores as it does so. These spores smell like fresh-cut grass as they settle over you, establishing a rapport between you and the monarch. Softer heroes, we need your help. Once Aramikos, a great sentient fungi that filled hundreds of miles of the Underdark, rested in peaceful slumber. However, the evil demon queen Zuggtmoy has wed herself to the great fungi, bending it to her unholy will. Now Zuggtmoy's natural fury and hate runs deep, and the Underdark trembles. If she is not stopped, then soon the very world will collapse beneath the weight of her wrath. Already, dream spirits tell me that portions of softer cities such as Mantle Doreth and Gracklestad have collapsed, and even surface cities such as your Waterdeep have been damaged. We must do something. Zuggtmoy is powerful, but she is not unbeatable. The fact that she inhabits Aramikos is both strength and weakness. If we can cast her from the great fungal lord's body, then she will be weakened enough for us to defeat her. But how? A secret known only to our people is that Aramikos lives not just in the Underdark, but also within the dreamscape. This version that lives within the dreamscape is its truest form. If we can visit it there, we might be able to free it from Zuggtmoy's foul infection. Oh wow, that was a lot to read in a made-up voice on the spot. I don't read any of this before we start the video, so it's who knows what's going to come out of me. But it was fun to read that little mushroom person, and I just made up a voice on the spot, so hopefully it worked. But it's fun, right? You when do you get to pretend to be a mushroom person? Never in real life, right? So books like this are fantastical. They're going to give you an opportunity, and I mean, look at how long some of these flavor texts are. So if you enjoy getting to just sort of emote and take on voices and play characters, this is going to be an especially fun one for you. But of course, feel free to paraphrase these, put them in your own words. That's the beauty of this game. If you're not interested in reading as much as I did, and maybe practice, which is something I didn't do. So I love it. This book is so cool. This series is so cool. I mean, you just need to add it to your collection. You need to be part of this. It's one of, I think, there's been a lot of things created, but very few series, and that are as interconnected as this by third-party creators. So really, really need to grab it and put it on your digital bookshelf. It is Wrath of Zuggtmoy in the links below. Give it a click. All right, now we've come to that part of the episode where we do some shout outs for additional titles that were released during this period that we think you might be interested in, but we don't have time to take a deep dive into. But we do have links in our video description to each one of these titles, so you can give them a look yourself. First up, we have Book of the East Part 1, which is for Iron Kingdom's campaign setting. It's got a fighter subclass, a race, and some monsters. It's only $1.99 for 13 pages, 5th edition. Then we've got Dino Safari, The Lost Isle, which is from Critical Crafting, one of our favorites. It's $9.99 for 40 pages, includes encounters, items, and spells for 5th edition. Then we've got Fantastical Field Studies, $9.95, and this is all about Strixhaven with a bunch of encounters and supplemental things to improve your Strixhaven campaign. It's 40 pages for 5th edition. Then we've got Phandelver and Below, Lost Mine of Phandelver, DM prep stuff from Aventier Games, well known for doing these kinds of books. Lots and lots of books they produced for prepping DMs for adventures, so worthy of a look from you. $9.95 for 17 pages, and this one, of course, is focused on Lost Mine of Phandelver, 5th edition. Then we've got Old Town Saga by MT Black. It's $5.95 for the PDF, $9.95 for that softcover, or $11.95 for both of them. It's 72 pages, 5th edition, and it's got an adventure for levels 1 to 4. Then we've got Prehistoric Perils, a Dinosaur Bestiary from Fainting Goat Games, $4.99 on sale. 16 pages is for OSR. And it looks like a lot of fun with all these monsters on the cover, or these dinosaurs, I should say. Then we've got The Temple of Grimbog, which is $9.99 for the PDF, or you can get the softcover premium color book for $15.99, or both for that same price. 32 pages, 5th edition, and this is an adventure. So if you're looking for an adventure, this might be a good option for you. Then we got Theros, Heroes, and Demigods, which is going to give you famous NPCs from the Magic the Gathering world of Theros. It's 30 pages for $9.95, 5th edition. Then we've got the Vault of 𝘽𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙀. I hope I said that right. $3 for 42 pages, 5th edition, and this is focused on monsters. So hope you check that out. Well, that's all we have for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment. For the algorithm, we will respond to those comments, and if you can, share the video on your social media so that other people can find out about all the great titles that are coming out every week. And if you really want to help these creators, give those links a click in the video description so you can check out their books. Maybe some of them are even pay what you want, so you can download them for free and then come back and pay them later. But whatever you do, support those creators, follow them on social media, leave them reviews, all that great stuff. And if you purchase anything after clicking any of the links, you're going to support the Splinterverse channel as well, which we greatly appreciate. And we love when you bookmark one of our links as your link to get to DriveThruRPG or DM's Guild, because then every time you shop, you're helping the channel at the same time at no extra cost to you. And we also have 7 books we've released down there in that video description or at splinterverse.com for you to check out, including our Mithril best-selling Feywild Companion and other books like Swarms of the Multiverse and Potions Unlocked. So we hope you check all of those out. And we're going to do a Kickstarter this year with a brand new campaign setting and an adventure. So make sure you follow us at Splinterverse everywhere on all the social media platforms, even the new ones like Blue Sky and Mastodon and Threads. We're there. Just look for Splinterverse and you'll find us. All right. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, happy adventuring.